youth, old, young, women, male, female, children. So, inshallah, we're going to go into this topic. It is a very deep topic, but we're going to try scratching the surface and getting some ideas and also getting you guys involved with this topic. We've got two people, inshallah, on our panel today. So we're going to have the professional side of it, and then we've also got the religious side of this topic, because I feel it's very important to touch on both sides. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Ali Naqvi, who is a professional in this field of psychology, and also our resident alim, Maulana Ahmed Abbas. So please recite aloud salawat. So the people that were here for the youth and parent event, I'm not sure if everybody was here, but we had one of the panelists was our respected Dr. Naqvi on that panel. And I feel like a lot of good points were made and a lot of good ideas were given and questions. So before we start, I want to ask the doctor, in your field, especially if you are getting youth, what are a lot of the issues or mental health problems you're finding with the youth today?
This is a very vital question. Thank you, Hamza. And unfortunately, there's no brief answer to this question. As Hamza has mentioned, actually, there's no health or no concept of health without mental health. And mental health, we usually have three dimensions. One is prevention, the other is care and treatment, and third one is rehabilitation, basically. We have whole spectrum of mental health problem. When we talk about mental health problem, that means that we are talking about common mental health problem. Those are depression and anxiety disorders, and those are quite prevalent. Like you can say that at least 70–80% of the population would suffer these problems. That's why those are called common mental health problems. The second category is specific mental health problem, or some forms are quite severe mental health problems like schizophrenia, psychosis, substance misuse, and suicide and deliberate self-harm. Unfortunately, recent surveys and studies have frequently highlighted that some of the issues are specifically emerging in our Muslim communities. As I mentioned, substance misuse is very common. And when we talk about substance misuse, it's not just alcohol, heroin, or hash. These are prescription drugs as well. And unfortunately, our female population is also target of those things. Deliberate self-harm and hidden traumatic stress is another problem. Like almost 40% of our population is, like in one way or the other way, suffering these issues. So I would suggest the first step as a community, what we need to take is to really educate ourselves what the problems are, and so that we can detect those problems at the earliest. And then what treatment or help or support options are available within the National Health Services system or community and voluntary sector, or what we can actually create our own generic support or help system particularly designated to our Shia community. So these are the things. I won't take further time. So I would be looking if there are any issues or questions, please bring up, because we need to break the stigma to talk about these issues right now. Otherwise, it would be too late to really go for any strategy, go for any resolution. So please, thank you very much.
See, that was an important point, because I do feel, like you said, it's a big stigma in our community. Mental health is a touchy subject. A lot of people suffer from it. And we hear a lot of people are suffering in silence. So, like Dr. Saba said, that there's different types and there's certain avenues people are taking, which substance abuse, suicide, and things like that, and it is prevalent in our Muslim community. I want to go to Maulana Sahib and find out what maybe are some of the things, if somebody is suffering in silence and is going through something mentally, whether it be anxiety, stress, depression, or something deeper than that, what sort of things can they do to help them calm this down or help them as a coping mechanism Islamically? And also, are there any stories of maybe religious figures that maybe went through something like this or went through these issues of depression or anxiety and how they dealt with this?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inshallah, I start with one of the Quranic verse which you have heard several times, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. You can't have any tranquility unless you are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. Now, when it comes to remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we need to know who is Allah. So obviously, when it comes to the five senses, we are not able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we go to the Prophet and Imams to explain and give us some sort of marifah, some sort of recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because that is the key for any and every single problem. Now, when we go to Imam al-Islam, Imam Ali al-Islam says, Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabba. That there is a key within yourself. There is a key within yourself. If you understand yourself, then you will be able to understand your Lord. If you know the mechanism of your body, that how your body works. I mean, if you look at me, I am, and sometimes I say that I am, that is different than body. In some cases, yes, it is different than body. Me is different than my body. But at the same time, can I exist without my body in this materialistical realm? No, that's impossible. So my body and my spirit, even though I consider them two, but they are one. You don't have a spirit without body, and you don't have body without spirit. It's a dead body then. When a person dies, we never say Ahmed Abbas dead. We say this is the body of Ahmed Abbas. That means Ahmed Abbas is different than his body. Now here this thing is connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if we want to have the recognition of Allah, that is the only way to overcome any fear in our life. This anxiety, depression, and these things, or sometimes this fear that I'm going to lose someone, I'm going to lose my mom, my dad, my son, my wife, my husband, my brother, or my house, God forbid there could be a fire. With all these fears, if I know that I have got a creator and there's a creator behind every single creation, this is the first thing which you give you really strength and something to think about. I quickly read few of the Quranic verses within 2 minutes, and inshallah, then we go further, because this is a very huge topic, and if you need to tackle them Islamically, first of all, you need to understand yourself. How to understand yourself? For example, I've got eyes, I've got nose, I've got lips, I've got teeth, I've got tongue, I've got gums, I've got ears, I've got hands, I've got hairs, I've got so many things. And these all things are together just serving one thing, and that is me. So there's a combination exactly the same way. We have got angels, we have got prophet, we have got imams, we have got ulamas, we have got animals, we have got plants, we have got so many things, and every single thing is serving one, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever tawheed we see in Allah, the same tawheed is within us. If somehow we connect ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this thing is going to give us the strength. Nothing can give us the strength. So I quickly read, instead of reading the Arabic side, I'll just read, inshallah, the translation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we created you from, say salawat again, please.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Okay. Certainly we created the man from an extract of clay. So you see, whatever we eat, that is coming from the earth. You eat fruit, you eat animal, you eat vegetable, everything is coming from the earth. And then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then we made him in a drop of fluid in a secure abode, that is back of a father. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then we created the drop of fluid as a clinging mass. Like a leech, it clings like that. And with the blood of the mother, this human grows within the womb of a mother. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then we created the clinging mass as a fleshy tissue. Then we created the fleshy tissue as bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh. Then we, what's this word? Produced him as another creature. So blessed is Allah, the best of the creators. I give you simple understanding of this, that this is, if you want to see in the Quran, this is Surah Al-Mu'minun from verse number 12 up to verse number 15. 3 verses, just read into it. That will give you the connection in between the body and the spirit. Body is the main source of the spirit. You never heard this probably before. Normally we think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create the body within the womb of a mother and then the spirit comes from outside and attach with the body. This is not right. The actual source of the spirit is the body. Spirit comes out from the body. It's a substance, it's a johar, it's a potentiality which is within the body, which comes out after a certain time. So, the final answer for this is, if I know myself, I will be able to have some sort of recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if I'm able to understand very least of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I will know the purpose of my life. Most of the people, they suffer because of the mental disease. They have lost the plot. They don't have any destination to go to. All they are moving in a cycle. In the morning, they go to work. They come back from work, eat, sleep, and 5 days they do this. And 1 or 2 days at the weekend, they get them engaged on different places. And they think we are successful people. No, I don't even know what are the human values. The values in the world, in the materialistic world, is different than the human values. Inshallah ta'ala, we carry on with this answer because it's a very short answer. I know this.
Ahsan, thank you for that. And also thank you for letting us know, especially with one of the points I want to pick out in. It says we are just a bit of fluid, right? Once we really realize how insignificant we are, sometimes we can think that all of these problems is not really significant once we find out what is our purpose and how beautiful our Creator is. But I want to play devil's advocate here because people, and doctor, correct me if I'm wrong, it is easy to say to somebody that is suffering, listen, God is amazing, God loves you, just think of God and it's okay. But if that person is not at a religious level, or if the person's, and I feel like a lot of people do say this, oh, look at the bright side, you've got a good family, you've got money, you've got this, and I feel like that's kind of a toxic way to tackle it. So how can, for example, parents or siblings or spouses that see their partner suffering, firstly, what key trigger or certain things should they look out for in their family members that are suffering? Maybe small points that maybe that shows them that they've got this a type of issue or some mental health issue. And what can they do for a source of comfort? Because I feel like we're in a society that we want the answer and we want solutions. So please let us know what we can do.
Again, this is a very comprehensive question. An answer is not very simple. Health, the concept of health from Islamic perspective or from, I would say, modern scientific perspective is holistic concept, and which involves your spiritual, your religious component, your physical health, and your psychological and mental health as well. And your social and familial component is also important, and that brings overall like a concept of holistic health. I think the first thing is, again, I would refer back to my earlier answer, that we need to raise awareness. People literally don't know what the problems are. And people don't know what is the difference between problems. Like, we go into family issues, without knowing is there any way to really come out of that. We just carry on for years and years by compromising our quality of relationships and not thinking, because we don't know there are resolutions or solutions to that problem. There are some individual levels of problem as well, like which we are talking about, common mental health problem. And usually each individual problem is linked with family problem. In the similar way, like you cannot give one answer or solution to any problem. Like Allama Sahab, what he's suggesting, that is actually the component, the framework that we need to be really working into that. But if a person has gone into a problem, then you cannot straight away expect that they should be reminded about the religion. Religion works, but they might not be in a state of mind or state of affairs where they can really accept religiosity straight away. Definitely, religion is a very important part, but first we need to really tackle that issue. For example, if someone is suffering obsessive compulsive disorder, no, and they have given up salah. So doesn't matter how much religious sermons we would offer that person, they are less likely to really come on board. The reason is, no, we have to treat first OCD as a disease. And it's the similar way, like when you have throat infection or fever, you have to treat that to be able to carry on your day-to-day like life activities and everything. So the answer to this question is, we need awareness. We don't know what the physical problems are, what the mental problems are, what the spiritual problems are, what the family problems are. And that is the dilemma. And we need to really well, I would suggest, like I'm really deeply impressed by the initiative the youth has taken up. I would again suggest, please devise a strategy for the community that how we are going to raise awareness, because awareness would protect you from future problems. It will guide you to seek the appropriate help for your problems, and it will give you some competency and courage and confidence to really think about your personal careers as well, to incorporate these things into careers. Thank you very much. I'm not sure whether I have answered the core question.
You've answered it, but you've also made an important point that we also need to educate ourselves. We can't keep going. The professionals are here, whether on the Islamic side or the professional side, on the doctor side. But I feel like as a community, we need to equip ourselves with these tools, because we need to start taking accountability. It's when we see these issues in our family, you know, culturally, a lot of people say, oh, maybe in Pakistan or wherever, this person's gone crazy, or this person's got a jinn inside him, or this person has got this issue, or someone's done black magic. That's the first thing a lot of people in the Indo-Pak region run to. But I feel like instead of that, maybe as a community, take accountability and treat that person as somebody that's unwell. Like the doctor said, if you got a throat infection, you go to the doctor. If you need a surgery, you go to the surgeon. The same way, if we start maybe treating the people that they're unwell, they need help, the spiritual side of it, the common sense side of it. If you know somebody's is acting out of character, you would question it, right? So I feel like as a community and also families, we should look at these and these triggers. Maybe they might be subtle and it can be difficult at times, because you're like, well, you've got anxiety, it's not my problem. Why are you bringing it on me for? Right? But as a community, if we work as a whole to start tackling these issues, because as you said, this issue doesn't just stem from here and now. There's a lot of background history with these things. And you know, all of us have luggage. All of us have got some problems or some issues. But what I want to do, I want to go a little bit more personal, and rather keeping it at a factual element. I want to ask Maulana Sahab, because he's come from what I know, because I know Maulana Sahab more than Dr. Naqvi's history, is he's come from a different background, right? So from a background that most of our parents have probably come from. He's come from Pakistan, he's come here young, and he started to work, he's got a family, and mashallah now he's become an alim, but he wants to call himself a student, but he is my teacher. What issues did you face, or what maybe mental health things do you felt like you went through, and how did you tackle these issues?
Again, it's because if we compare our youth with the youth of today, we had so many things were not available. And obviously now within your hands you have got so many things, your mobile phone, the other gadgets, which basically transferring these different vibes, ideas and germs into our mind, which is creating such a problem for us. Because there is no check and balance when it comes to your involvement, especially the young ones' involvement with the internet. In our time, we didn't have anything like this. For example, if I give the biggest entertainment, we had only one television channel. For first about 25 years of my life, there was only one channel. So we had very few things to enjoy. Nowadays, it's a very individual life. First of all, we must integrate with people. We try to meet people. When you see the concept of Salatul Jamaat, there are so many other advantages. One of the advantages, when you meet other people, you learn from other people, and other people, they learn something from you as well. And at the same time, some of the people within the community, they challenge you different way. So unknowingly, you get trained from the people. So getting mixed up, this is another thing which you can do. Say, for example, if you are not a religious person, now look in the Western society, people from the different backgrounds, the Christians, the Jews, or Sikh or Hindus, they have got these activities in the evening time. They go to their clubs, their pubs, and some places where the main purpose is to meet. Because when a person is male or female, when they are on their own, this is the most dangerous time, because that is a time when a person is so vulnerable for these ideas, and most of the time the wrong ideas, and it's an open field for shaitan to come. Shaitan only plays with our mind. He doesn't have even the power to lift up this mobile like I'm lifting. He doesn't have the power, but he's got such a strong temptation through the mind. He comes and he creates such a problems, and a person who's sitting in the house is more dangerous than a person who's moving in the society. So if we are not religious people, our old people, what they used to do in the olden time, in the evening time after Salatul Isha, they used to get those young children together, and there's story time, and then the ladies, they are sitting together. Every evening or every other evening, people, they had a lot of time, especially the women. They used to work all day in their houses, but in the evening time, they used to sit together. So I would say that those days are totally different if we compare to today's problem. So in that case, if we somehow try to bring out the people from their khalwa, where is khalwa? When they're sitting on their own, in their loneliness, they need to come out from their houses. For example, last Eid, we had over 1,000 people, they were saying Salatul Jamaat here. So 1,000 people. And those 1,000 were almost, all of them was male. I think we had few sisters as well. But 1,000 people, and they all were male. So if we say 50% of the community, then we got at least 1,000 ladies as well. So this place is open. And the other thing is, we need to bring some physical activities. This is sports, alhamdulillah, it will take place, I think, after the prayer. This is another good thing. Or to get them into the reading mode. Unfortunately, because of Google, you have any question, you just Google it, what is this thing, and it gives you a short answer, maybe 3-4 line paragraph, and you think that I'm alim now, I know about this thing. So this is another problem. So these things are creating in just a person, making a person and as an individual person. This is very, very dangerous thing. We need to get together. When you sit together, then you learn from other persons. This is another thing, and if your mind is positively occupied, there are very less chances you're going to go into this kind of problem. But when the mind is empty, so empty mind is an open field for shaitan. So olden days, those were different. But here, even though we have got such a technology, we never had. This is the miracle of the technology if we look in 2024. Because I remember 1987, that is the first time when I saw this mobile phone, the size of a brick, 86, 87. And I remember this little piece of, what is this, with hard drive with the computer. It used to be the size which is bigger than this mimbar, with only not even a gig, 1 GB. And now you have a phone with 1 tera, which means 1000 GB. So in that case, technology is moving so briskly, but this Western society is basically based on individualism. Make people separately, and then they become easy target for shaitan. So we have to get together as much as we can. Now we have got this program, we got program on Thursday. We have Salat 5 times. If you can come, please do come. You will feel the difference. Because when people, they meet each other, then they learn a lot, and then the mind is occupied as well with something positive, so they can save themselves.
Thank you so much. Maulana made some great points. One of the points which I felt is important is family time. Like they said in Pakistan, or when the mothers people got together after their busy days. These devices are great. Technology is great. We should move with the times. But I don't think it should dilute the core aspects and principles we have as a community. You know, coming to the masjid, because we always say many hands make for light work. If you got loads of us and you got a problem, somebody might have the solution to your problem. If they don't, they might know somebody that does, right? It's not all about having the answer. It's a network. We're a massive community where we're networking with each other. And when you're sitting with your brothers or your sisters, you can talk about your problems, or you can just relax and your mind is occupied, right? These places are spiritual places, but don't just think, I need to come here, read Quran, I need to pray. Sometimes just sit and relax, soak it in. You don't, like even today, you're coming in, you're relaxing, you're sitting down. You don't need to constantly be reading tasbih or doing something. Even this is a kind of tasbih you're sitting in here, in these gatherings, right? One personal point I want to add to it, before we go to the last point, before namaz starts, is sometimes in life, as a youth, right, as a youngster, when you're in college, when you're in junior school, high school, certain things are important to you, like for example, your exams, or example, you go do a spelling test. Your parents might think, oh, it's a spelling test. What are you crying over? And it builds this anxiety, it builds this fear. Like, I've got my own business. Sometimes when I'm dealing with so many calls and so many customers, you think, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, or then we go prepare for the Tuesday program, and then we go do this. But sometimes step back out of that circle, because you've created a circle in your head where everything's inside there. Maybe try, I'm not saying this is the answer, but from me personally, maybe try breathing technique. Step outside of that and be like, okay, let me put everything down on a piece of paper, write a list, get pen to paper, and then start tackling your issues and grab the bull by the horns. Because you can start getting into this issue of, oh, I've got my exams, then I've got PE, I forgot my PE kit, I forgot this, oh, I've got university, this, that, and the other, my parents. And listen, life is too short. You need to relax a little bit, right? So maybe step out of it, breathe, and then go back in. Every single one of us here has problems. Nobody's special here. That you don't have a problem, we all got problems. But as Maulana said, as a community, we can tackle these problems. We might not have the answers in this room today, we will find you the answer. If we can't find you the answer, we believe in 14 infallibles that are guaranteed to give the answer, right? But that answer in your life today might not make any sense to you, right? Maybe 5 years down the line, that might make sense to you. So, before we finish for namaz, a short answer if you can, Dr. Saab, please. These mobile phones, right? You got kids, my daughter's 2 years old, she knows how to use it, right? You got adults that are 40, 50, 60 that are on these devices. What issues are you finding that these devices are causing? I know it's a general question, but just give us some of the points that you're finding that these devices or overusing these devices are causing within our youth.
I think there are two types of issues. One is physical, like it changes your sleep pattern. Very basic thing which none of us would realize or even think about that. It changes it does impact on your sleep and natural cycles of sleep. But I won't talk about the physical, but the main thing is that you go into habits. And children are very prone to go into really negative habits. And so that's why parents should be setting up some boundaries in terms of not depriving them of something that they should not be using, but there should be some boundaries, like you can set up time, you can set up some restraints about type of programs or things they should be browsing. So we need to protect children to go into any negative cycles of habits. Because that's, and habits are not just children, it's with all of us. Like people, I have seen people habitual in terms of specific, what is that, Twitter or Instagram, or, and once TikTok, once, and this is really addictive in nature. Yeah. So addiction I was talking about, it's not just chemical addiction, is one of the worst addiction that our generations are going through is actually digital addiction. So that's.
Yes, thank you so much. These are so many points and so many issues just in this short space were raised. Bear with us, we're starting a new style. Thank you so much for coming. Inshallah, next week we're going to be speaking to your president, the president of this masjid, Brother Rahat Gilani, and we will be talking to him about ideas, issues, and him as a president and getting to know the president of our community. Again, it's almost time for Salah. Inshallah, I hope you do enjoy these sessions. We will start making them interactive. We will start opening these discussions up with the timings. So please bear with us. And inshallah, if you've got any ideas of different podcast style you want to hear, a discussion you want to hear, please let us know. Thank you very much for bearing with us. I'm going to give it to Maulana Sahab, then inshallah we'll do a ziyarat and then namaz.
I just want to describe one of the hadiths of Imam Hassan Mujtaba alayhi salam. He says that any person who regularly come to the mosque must get those benefits. Some of the benefits that a person is going to find a brother or sister in faith. This is one of a great help, because to find a loyal or sincere friend, it's a great task to ask from anyone. Obviously, to find a sincere friend, I have to be sincere to other people. Then inshallah. But he says that if you regularly come to the mosque, number one, you can find a brother or sister. So obviously, alhamdulillah, we have segregation. We have sisters and brothers. So sister will find sister and brother will find brother. And then he says that there will be increase in your knowledge and there will be decrease in your ignorance. And if you need to get a job, you can get a job as well. I remember 4 or 5 weeks back, there were 4 or 5 students, brothers, some of the sisters. They asked me personally that if I can do something for their job. Obviously, I can't do anything, but I was thinking, and suddenly there's a person from our own community, you probably know him, Raja Adnan. He came and he said that I run an agency to employ people. So if there's anyone who's looking for a job, I said, look here. So this is why, this is because of the mosque. So I did talk to him, and alhamdulillah, I have received, I think 3 or 4 messages, 2, 3 from the sisters, 1 or 2, I think 4 or 5 messages, 2 from the brother's side. They said, we went to brother and he was so helpful, and we have got the job as well. So what I'm saying here, that be connected with your masjid. This is not only your masjid, this is your second house. Make it your first house. Come here and talk to your Alim-e-Deen, whoever is available here. And inshallah, in future time, next week, I will request Brother Hamza. I met one of my brother Alim-e-Deen in London today, and I was talking to him, and he's a young man, only 32, 33, again Khoja. So we have Khoja, they are attacking us. But we love this attack, inshallah. Mehdi Abdullah, he's from Stanmore. He came here once before, and he'll be here, inshallah, hopefully, maybe in a week or a couple of weeks' time. So I see Brother Hamza, he set up the program. So inshallah ta'ala, be connected here, and we try our best, whatever inshallah ta'ala we can inform you with. And if we can help you physically, we are here. Plus, near future time, we will try to leave the sports hall empty, which is a proper professional sports hall. It cost them more than, I think, 250,000 pounds to bring it up to this level. Now everything is available here. You can come yourself, your children, and inshallah ta'ala make this place as your second house. And within 5 years' time, you will see the fruit coming out from it. So please, before we start azan, half a minute left, please recite 1 Suratul Fatiha 3 times Surah Al-Ikhlas. For all the marhumin and especially for those people, they set up this setup which we have got now 64 years back. That's why we are setting here. Auzubillah.